What happens when you take two transphobes, put them in a room, give them a camera and some alcohol? We're about to find out.
I'm not against gay people, but I don't want them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. I mean, you come
Yeah,
off
it's
like a
that
woman,
guy.
you look like a woman. They had spiders, goats that were part spiders, whose udders were basically spider spinnerets, because the rest of the goat looks like a goat. It's ma'am, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Hey guys, what you're about to watch is a clip from a new episode with Alex Jones from my new podcast that just launched, The Blaire White Project. It airs the day after this video goes live on my second channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other platform.
Holy fuck, that's a lot of platforms.
Interview Alex has ever done, full stop. I asked him the hard questions,
How can he be?
lawsuits against him, his mistakes, controversies.
Oh, this guy is bonkers.
And I think that regardless of
not Peterson. Alex Jones is bonkers. The guy that's bonkers. I do respect Blaire White's gender identity, even if she doesn't respect it herself.
We were drinking the whole time. Enjoy this clip and then make sure you tune in the day after this video goes live for the full experience.
They can't say that.
Exactly.
How about let's make fun of this one clip?
And like getting back to that, whenever I was here last week, a lot of people were commenting online. I saw it like, well, wait a minute. He hates people that are trans or whatever. But then he's here being a hypocrite. And no, I've never been a hypocrite. I'm not against any adults with whatever they want to do. I'm a libertarian when it comes to that. I've never changed that view. You've been listening for a long time. You know that.
Are you,
what
though?
I don't like is whether it's homosexual, heterosexual, whatever it is, children need to be left alone and be innocent. And if a dude walked up and started trying to tell my kids at the park, 5- and 6-year-olds, about sex, you call the police. But what is the school doing it? Leave people alone and let them.
These guys don't know what fucking sex education is for kids. They have no desire to even talk about it, even though it does actually reduce the amount of predation that happens. Because, you know, the left actually gives a shit about minimizing that. But these two are right-wingers.
Do what they want as adults, and then let them make their own decisions. That's what freedom's all about. So I've never been hypocritical, and I've never been, a fraud about that. I think you're a really nice person. Really
You've
smart
just
people,
been a fraud about other
as a
things.
friend. So to me, it doesn't matter. It's individuals and what they want to do in their own lives.
They call me the same shit. It's like, so it's funny that you mentioned they're calling you a hypocrite. I thought when you first started that sentence, you were going to say people were calling me that because I saw that about me. It's like, well, how could you sit there and talk with him or hang out with him? Which, first of all, this isn't the first time we've been on camera together. This is like the second or third. But second of all, how are you going to tell me behind a screen how he feels when I've been in a room with him? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, but that's what's happening is you were on my show like 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I thought you're a really smart person.
You were my first interview ever.
So I was lucky you came on my show. You're a really smart, neat person, and so it's just not real.
I wonder why they gravitated towards each other.
And it seems natural that you're a woman, but then you get some giant former, ex-con armed robber prisoner who's like deadlifting 600 pounds. And he's like, some goes, hey, dude, how you doing? Yeah, man, I'll get to you next. He's like, it's ma'am, I'm going to beat your ass.
I am not surprised Jordan Peterson and Alex Jones here. I'm not surprised that Alex Jones thinks of women as only feminine, only passing. They are passing are the ones that get to be respected, but otherwise, fuck you. Yeah, that's not an attitude that flies with me.
And he's like sitting there. That's not a woman.
It's different.
It's different. And then sitting there letting a thug do that, it's like no one buys it. And so I'm not one way for one audience and one way for another. It's all completely there. I don't hate anybody. I'm not a hypocrite. And I'm not sitting there putting people down.
He doesn't outwardly hate people.
It's convenient for us to hate each other. Let's just be real. It keeps things the way that it is. And it keeps this crazy divide by making it more convenient for me to sit here and think that you're going to have a grudge against me or that you're not going to like me.
Yeah, but I don't just not dislike you. I like you.
Exactly.
And I like the crew out here and all these cool people. I mean, it's just stupid. And what I'm saying is it shouldn't be a political agenda what people do in their personal lives or their identities or who they are.
I can't believe Alex Jones just said that fucking statement. That one sentence, huh?
And there is one thing about humans, we change our environment and we change who we are, and it is a fact that we are controlling our evolution. But the globalists then hijack that great truth and say, that's right, and we're going to control the evolution. and we're going to be in the driver's seat, and that should not be done.
You said that it was a
what evolution we controlling, eh?
All right. That water you had was so good, and I stole it. And I'm going to be good this week, okay?
We need a little more water.
Does that mess you up?
No, you're fine.
I'm going to try to get out of this and see if we can go eat. So.
Yeah, we should go out to eat.
We should. Let me just sit this next.
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead, sorry.
Have a sip of this.
That's yours. I stole yours.
So,
start over.
Having a little sippy sip. Hydrate if you haven't.
Yeah, you're good.
This video is sponsored by.
I'm fascinated by it.
Shameless.
It was a depopulation scheme. So what is that?
Sure,
I want to know.
And it doesn't
A depopulation scheme.
Have a proclivity or genetically or for whatever reason are predisposed to something or bad people. It means there's an agenda hijacking that to basically, because obviously you're super smart and
wonder who's leading the agenda.
Parliament on there, even liberals, where overall they are targeting autistic boys, and they are targeting low IQ and Down syndrome and stuff as a way to make sure that they don't have any children. They are basically using that as the cover for sterilization, and then also there's a larger issue of all the studies. We have a lake in East Texas on our ranch, and we wanted to get carp in it to eat the plant, so it's clear water. And you go to the state of Texas, and they give you sterilized carp that have had a chemical put in the water that makes them asexual. And so what we know is atrazine and a lot of other chemicals in utero in the first trimester can basically change a lot of the sexual traits, either physically or also where you can see it, or to a less degree inside brain development.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm sorry, everybody watching this, for the brain damage we're taking. I knew he was bonkers, but wow.
And so you do have a lot of boys who in utero are more feminine and express more feminine traits, and so it really is the fact that they are.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a fucking spectrum.
It's showing up in mammals, it's showing up in reptiles, it's showing up everywhere.
Holy shit, it's almost like it's natural too.
I'm not against gay people, but I don't want them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. And like literally,
nice meme.
The world, different species of frogs that get these chemicals are no longer attracted to the opposite sex. Whatever it does in the endocrine disruptors it causes a bunch of things to happen. And so we should be having a larger discussion about why there's this proclivity and why.
I swear to God, he's making the face that he's not trying to remember any of the studies he's read, because I'm pretty sure he's never read a single study in his life. He's making the face that he's coming up with this on the fly. And he believes it.
Why this is happening, not hate people that have been affected by it. And of course, going back thousands of years ago, there were a certain percentage of the population was already like that to begin with. So I don't hate any of those people. What I'm getting at is that there is a larger scientific body of evidence.
You don't hate those people, you just don't want
a cultural thing.
You don't hate us, you just don't want don't want kids being told about us. That's literally it. Because you take our identity and essentialize it into your fucking sexual fetish, and then you project that onto any sort of education towards children.
But more importantly, it's something happening biological.
Yeah, I think I don't know which is scarier, the cultural part or the biological, because like I've felt trans my entire.
The cultural part is scarier. I've had death threats to my face in Canada.
Life, probably 5 was the earliest age I had the feelings, but I also am able to recognize that as I get older, I'm watching.
She just said that at 4 or 5, she was able to recognize the feelings of not associating with the assigned sex at birth. Interesting. I wonder if she's going to say anything to contradict that.
5-year-olds being told they're that way, which is the opposite for me, which was
nobody is telling kids how the kids are feeling. We are trying to give kids the language to understand their own feelings so they can tell us who they are. In fact, I don't even like raising kids as gendered. I think everybody should be raised as they thems until they're like sure about where they want to go. And a lot of the time they're going to figure that out before puberty.
I had these feelings and they weren't validated by everyone around me or pushed. It was just it kind of fucking happened. But now you have these 5-year-olds that are being told because they like girly things or because they like boyish things as a girl that they must be the opposite sex. And someone,
nobody is telling them that if you like girly things you must be the opposite sex. They are saying, or at least what I say is, if you like girly things, maybe try it. You don't need to jump on any sort of hormones. Try a different name. Try a different outfit. That's it. If you like that, try more. If you don't like it, don't do it. What's the problem, Blaire?
this ideological push. And I guess that would make sense if the theory is that this is a depopulation scheme, or at least one aspect of it. But that's...
Who's trying to push that scheme? That's what I wonder. I always am curious. Who's pushing that scheme? Is it the transgenders? I think it's us, the transgenders.
Scary.
Well, I mean, there is no doubt they want to destroy the family, and they don't want to have single family dwellings, and they want to not just have GMO.
I agree with that.
Oh my god, we can't even afford single family dwellings anymore. It's not even that. You literally need a polycule to make rent for a 1-bedroom apartment these days.
Not just have GMO crops, they want to have GMO people. And you've got all these animal-human...
We are already genetically modified. Dumb. What do you think artificial hearts are? Or artificial... No, wait. Oh god, I'm dumber than Alex Jones. Don't clip that. This video is going to be weird to edit. Yeah, sorry about that, Pink.
Hybrids that they never roll out in the public, but they've been producing in all these different medical experiments that don't have rights. They don't have animal rights. They don't have human rights. They're this no man's land. And so they're kind of using the trans agenda to get you used to saying a biological man can compete against women, or a biological man can be in prison and 2 women got pregnant. That's not true. So they're also just using it to...
There's nothing wrong with transgender people competing in sports. You're just blowing that out of proportion because you hate transgender people. When did you ever talk about women's sports before the mainstream discourse about transgender existence?
Basically,
he's not going to answer that.
And then scapegoat a group of people that are innocent like yourself, and they know what they're doing, and it's total divide and conquer, like you said, and it needs to stop.
Yeah.
Because...
Can I get back? I don't want to forget this question, because when you were saying it, I was like, I got to get back to this, but then we kept going about the other shit. The human-animal hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about that.
They're called furries, and I want them to exist, like, right now. Let me play. Let me play. That's all I want.
That just sounds like some crazy shit, not in a bad way. It just sounds like nuts. Can you just give me the for dummies version of what's happening there?
Oh, he doesn't have the smart version.
Growing human organs is obviously going to be one of the biggest industries ever. Yeah. And it's hard to create artificial wombs to do that. Also, if something's 100% human, it's got rights. And if something's an animal, it's even got rights. But if it's a new species, an alien, which means never been on the earth before, part human, part animal, now that human-animal hybrid doesn't have rights. And so you can gestate it usually in a cow.
It's almost like we should make our rights available to all sentient beings. But you guys don't want to even extend rights to trans people, where it's a moot point and you wouldn't listen to us. That's not where I thought it was fucking going. I know this video is all over the place.
But they grow other animal-human hybrids, pig-human hybrids, you name it, inside cows. Those cows are generally being given anti-rejection drugs, or themselves are part human, so that they can then not reject the humanoid they're growing up inside of it. And I remember 25...
You heard it straight from Alex Jones's mouth. We're getting furries. Celebrate and chat.
Years ago, seeing like MIT reports on it, and then even 5 years ago, they had articles. Human-animal hybrids are gestating or in utero on farms across the U.S. That's a real headline, and it just admits there's thousands of.
That's a real headline. You talking shit? Human animal hybrids America. 2001, 2016. Senate kills GOP legislation to promote or to prohibit certain human animal chimeras. Oh, that's fucked up. That was last year. Don't worry about it.
These clones. And I've talked to some people that have worked in biomedical areas that have been involved in it, including University of Texas. And one time I was actually given a little tour, and I was off records. I can't get into all of it, but I was able to see some of these.
Oh my God.
Over CCTV.
Oh yeah, I totally believe he saw some of these.
Downtown, I was able to look at it. It was a DARPA program. That was about 23 years ago. And these were human-animal apes that they're using for medical experiments. And they admit that's going on. It's in the National
Human-animal apes?
And so
we are apes, though.
I'm talking about it. It's like I'm talking about Mars because it sounds crazy.
But, I don't think it actually sounds that fucking crazy. Mm. I think it sounds out of what we think would be acceptable, but then you look throughout history.
Well, that's it. It's all segregated away where you don't see it.
Yeah, you think of so many experiments throughout history. You think of so many surgeries that we have now that we deem as important in our routine that were born out of the Nazi experiments. And you think of, so much.
I would like to hear a source on that one, Blaire.
Goes on. It's not actually that unbelievable. It's wild, but it's not that unbelievable.
Exactly. And what's frustrating to me is,
I mean, yeah, there are a lot of really insightful things we can learn if we just fucking ignore human rights like the Nazis did. But we're not going to. We're going to learn the hard way where we don't actually have to hurt people. But when it does happen, we learn a lot. It's not great, but Blaire, don't fucking defend Nazis.
99% of what I cover is open source and not debatable. And then they'll just lie and say I'm making it up. But, I mean, that's really going on. I mean, in the last week, they had the Washington Post, the New York Times, Bloomberg, the Financial Times in London all say it's time to have dictators. Freedom isn't good. It's time to censor. It's time to be in a tyranny. These are headlines saying this, that it's time to have a dictator. This is what the Davos group.
They are private news outlets. I disagree with their fucking statement greatly, but they're free to print what they want. It's fucking private and the system we live under.
And the globalists are selling.
Yeah. I just have.
What do you mean by globalists, I wonder?
What level of, this is almost my morbid curiosity, I'm going to a dark place right now. What level of consciousness did they have that they are an experiment? Did they have like animal intelligence? Did they have human intelligence, somewhere in between? Do you even know? How much can you say?
Well, if you know how mad scientists work, and if you look at the spirit of evil that runs things, it's mad scientists, the sky's the limit. There are thousands of admitted projects in the U.S. that have happened, thousands in China. Ones I've seen in like financial reports out of Costa Rica, South Korea, just everywhere. So,
and don't forget your thought, but I've seen a lot of like studies about like when the government would operate
just checking
mentally children.
Oh, absolutely. You've had all the secret medical experiments and
like a good YouTuber, no sources in description.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that 23 years ago or so, I saw a CBS News article about a military base in upstate New York that had spider goats on it. So I was my own producer then. So
hey, it's a spider goat clip.
Okay.
So I called the name of the guy on the thing. He answers. He goes, "Yeah, I'll come on your show." Yeah, I got a Defense Department contract. I'm a genetic engineer. We create body armor out of the milk of these goats that are, part spider. And all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. He got in a bunch of trouble for talking to me, but he'd been in CBS News. I have had people, after that happened, walk to me on the street and go, "You're a liar. We can't splice goats and spiders."
America.
Well, since then, there's thousands of articles admitting spider goats.
Spider
goats. You'll get articles going back, 20 years. The point is that
oh shit,
they kind of report it to see what we do.
Oh shit, Alex Jones wasn't lying for a second. I'm sorry, my brain broke. That doesn't happen.
And then kind of pull back. And so that's my point is, if 20-something years ago, they had spiders, goats that were part spiders, whose udders were basically spider spinnerets, because the rest of the goat looks like a goat, but the udders are like a spider spinneret deal.
Holy.
Look it up, guys. I'm not making this up. It's not even debatable. That's 20-something years ago. So, and I interviewed the head of the project. It's just insane. Like, I had the head of HARP on. Like,
spider goats are real. He's not lying.
He's the top scientist. He comes on as an Air Force.
I don't know about the interview with the first person to head it or whatever, but the spider goats themselves are real.
Well, yeah, HARP can't ignite the atmosphere. We can't control the weather. And like, that's a real interview with the real head of HARP. That really happened. So much of what I've done has just been really open source.
Well, of all the shit that you talk about, I think that the animal-human hybrids are actually probably one of the more believable things that you talk about. I think, like, that's kind of common sense. It's one of those things people almost...
Yeah, because his Sandy Hook shit wasn't believable.
Like, can a dog and a cat have a baby? It's like a very kind of juvenile... Of course there are scientists that with that and try to make it happen.
Well, exactly. They're called chimeras. It goes back to the Greeks, because they mythically said there were these, part man, part horse, part whatever, mermaids.
I would think it would go before the Greeks, but
mermaids exist now.
Oh, they've definitely tried to splice humans with fish. They've done it all at the embryonic level.
Top debate topic: which is the better mermaid? Human top and fish bottom, or human bottom and fish top? Go.
It's not debatable. Type in humans spliced with fish in genetic cloning test, and there's articles. Humans spliced with insects. Did you know, as of last year, 2021, there's already GMO salmon that's part insect and part mammal, that's twice as big as regular salmon, being sold on store shelves without telling you?